Welcome in, everybody. My name is Mitch, and I'm not riding solo tonight. I'm joined by the GOAT, Matty Thompson himself. How you going, brother?
Yeah, good man. What about yourself? You
Look,
happy to be out of this buy round shenanigans quite soon?
I'm so over it. The major, the minor buy rounds, I hate it. At least the third major buy round is over. I can start targeting some Origin guns. Somehow I've got Adam Dewey in my team. That's a story for later. Shout out to Brenton Vickery. I'll touch on that soon. How'd you go this week, mate? Last major buy round? How'd you go?
Oh, mate, 689, not exactly amazing, but I was playing one short, so held ranks. I'm in the doldrums. I'm 47-12. So I've been trying to launch for the last 3 weeks, and I think my launch button is broken. I've just crashed on the landing platform, blown up everywhere. So yeah, here we are. Look, we've got one trade left. It's really do or die right now for the JBFA Haas no trades.
To be honest, I actually don't mind it too. You've got Fiketti in there. At one point on Sunday afternoon, that was Egan Butcher. So thankfully, for the viewers' sake, for Jamie Brown's sake, and for my sake, that is Celeste Fiketti and not Egan Butcher. Yeah, look, I think we need to ban the word launch. We're going to ban the L word because I think I've been saying it since about 2023, and I'm not saying it anymore. I'm not saying it. I'm just going to do it. So 689, mate, not bad. Look, it's pretty stock standard. Playing with 12, poor Burbo. When you play short in rounds like this, you kind of hope you're. Oh, I just realized Eli Katoa went down too as well by looking at his face. You kind of want your pods to do really well, and unfortunately, that hasn't happened. Although Faketi's score is honestly unreal. Like I was stoked with that. I brought him in as well for a 45. Who did you end up trading to get to him?
So similar to my story for the last few weeks, I'm just trading out injuries at the moment. So I traded out Couchman and Aitken to Tedesco and Fiketti, leaving 250k in the bank to make
Oh, yeah,
a single upgrade with my one remaining trade.
that's
So
right.
yeah, Burbo was pretty disappointing way to end the week with his 22. Last week, I know that I wasn't on, but you shared that I tried looping him and then Lawson blocked his points. So I didn't get his big score last week, his 70 or 60 odd. And now I've got his 22 this week. So yeah, Burbo is definitely on the hit list. Although I don't have enough trades to really trade too many people out. So it's Jazz versus Burbo, who's more of an urgent trade this week is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's time for you to clip the bald eagle's wings and get him out of your side. You got to experience the full Tedesco effect. I think he was on 9 points for about 60 minutes, and then he scored a massive try in the last minute of the game. So, what was your other choice instead of Teddy? It was Turbo, wasn't it?
Yeah, so before Aitken went down, I was just looking at one trade, going Couchman to Turbo to leave myself some money to make upgrades next week. But then Aitken went down, and I had to bring in Fiketti to get a number this week and also for next week. So Fiketti, being that Ed Midge dual, he can slide up into my mids next week, and I can slide like a Lucas up to my edge. Um, so. Even with my one trade, I should be able to field 13 after those couple of trades, Tedesco and Fiketti in. Um, I can move things around as we'll kind of get into later. But yeah, it's pretty dire at the moment. I just really need none of my guys to get injured this week, and that would be amazing because it's been a rough. I think I've been just trading out for injuries. Um, yeah, besides a couple of, I think there's like maybe two trades or something in the last 3 or 4 weeks that I haven't traded through injuries. So it's been a bit of a rough one, mate. But what about you? How did you end up? You had a few more points than I did.
Yeah, 713 for me. I also played with 12, and there's actually an incredible story behind 12 and Adam Dewey himself. If I just go through my trades. So last week on the video, obviously I went through that I was always doing couch to Fiketti. I was always confident in that trade as well. I didn't expect a 45. He's going to make a lot of cash, or a good amount of cash, and he's going to be someone that I end up flicking in a few weeks. But I'm really, really happy with that bring in. Also brought in Katoa. And God, that was just such a good watch. Watching him just Superman to score a try over rubbish drink water, offload the ball at will. He was on 61, so I just seen he went down 2 points, which is fine. That was a really easy watch. And at that point, I planned on just playing 11. I was really confident in doing that. I think everybody was like, "Why are you doing that?" I think even you were like, "You can't do it. Oh my God." And you were just crying at me and stuff. And I
Yeah.
said, "Mate, you got no idea. I got 11 absolute battlers." And it was Sunday. We had the whole Jack Bird fiasco as well. That was going crazy last week and a few days ago. And at one point, I was really keen on doing Cam McInnes to Jack Bird to free up a lot of cash for this week. And then when he was out, I thought, you know what, I'll play 11. And then it was about 30 minutes before the Roosters Tigers game, and I don't know what hit me. There was something that hit me. The only other time that hit me was when I was overseas and I did a last minute swap to KPP and I went to Couchman and I brought Couchman in. And I got a wave of anxiety. And I looked at Adam Dewey in the 5'8" when he was warming up and said, "Oh my goodness, what am I about to do?" And I sent our good man from Talking Lead, Brenton, a message. I said, "Mate, are you still doing the Adam Dewey trade?" And I listened to the podcast. I listened to every podcast. It's a bit sad, actually. And he was keen on Adam Dewey, and I said, "Mate, are you still doing it? What's the move?" He said, "Yeah, I am." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to ride it with you. I'm going to ride it with you." And I brought Adam Dewey in very, very last minute. I actually don't play fantasy that way. I never do last minute trade-ins, and normally I'm pretty set in stone on what I want to do. So I brought him in for a nice score of 56. Thank goodness the Tigers scored some points because he managed to kick some goals. 56, had a try assist. Hopefully, like I said, we don't prey on injuries, and hopefully Luai, gets rested or something. Something happens to Luai, and Adam Dewey can stay in the sixth jersey. That's kind of what I'm hoping. There was a bit of a punt, hoping for a really good score. The Tigers won. It didn't help my case that Latu Finu actually played really well, so I'm pretty confident he's going to hold that jersey. But I've got Adam Dewey sitting there. I guess I needed center cover. I'm trading Ruben Garrick. Garrick is on the hit list. He's dead to me on the wing, even though he scored really well. But 7-13, unfortunately, I was in the position where I couldn't. I messed up the placing of how I had the guys on my interchange, so I couldn't actually take Latu's score over DCE. If I had it switched around another way, I could have. But luckily, DC has given me like 3 or 4 53s in a row. So, look at my team. They're a bunch of warriors, a couple of battlers. I'm keen to trade this week. Obviously, round 19, I've got 4 left. I've got 280K. If I went Tom Turbo instead of Adam Dewey, I would have had like 320. If Jack Bird was originally named, sorry, I would have had 400. But I've got 4 trades. I'm definitely making 3. Without a doubt, I'm making 3. But the people close to me know that I want to make 4. We've banned the L word. No one's launching. We've banned the G word. No one's a gunslinger. But I think I'm making 4 trades. We finally get to pick up some Origin guys, and that's going to be kind of the basis around this video. Obviously, we've got Origin in 48 hours or so. What Origin guys back up? What Origin guys do I want to buy? I'm definitely making, like I said, the 3 trades. The first trade that I will be making this week is just the easiest one, is Jazz to Yo. Obviously, I've got enough cash for that. But a lot of people will be doing that trade, sorry. And I actually need a mid this week. I need a couple of positions. My team looks pretty rubbish this week. Now that leaves me with 3, and I'm going to use all 3 of those trades. I don't know if I'm actually going to be putting it on the video of who I'm bringing in. A couple of Penrith players, maybe one more Penrith player. Uh, Mate, you've got 1 trade. Are you going to be using it?
I will be. I will certainly be using it. Not to launch though, not to launch because we banned that
Hey,
word.
hey,
But
hey, we've banned the L word.
yeah, yeah. But right now I've got Jazz to Watson locked in, and that will providing all my guys play, that will give me 13. But look, I'm not mega optimistic that we're not going to get a last minute resting or something like that. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I've got the likes of King Tongia and Latu Fainu on my bench right now. Cleary and Katoa in the starting side, and Lawson as well as an extra number if he's fit. I don't know. I don't know what his go is, but I assumed he was out for a few weeks, but I don't know. Maybe he'll be back. In that case, I'll have one extra. But yeah, the mid edge I think is quite difficult this week, especially with everyone having Tarpany and Kaloma. I think a lot of people are going to struggle in the forwards.
Yeah, me personally, and that's probably a really good segue into, we don't want this video to take 2 hours, even though I know it could easily with me, is what do we do with some of these guys? On the bye, what are the teams? It's the Raiders, Rabbitohs, and Manly, right? So there's quite a lot of relevancy. And like you said, a couple of tough positions. You got your Hosking, Tarpanay, Keon Koloamatangi, Ewan Aitken if you still got him. And what do we do with these guys? Now, I know me personally, I am selling Joe Tarpanay. And again, me personally, I am selling Ruben Garrick. I'm locked in on those. I think we'll start with Joe Tarpanay first, and I think this one is definitely more of a luxury trade, but I think there is a lot of sense to it as well. Obviously, without the analysis in front of me, it's pretty hard to look at him averaging 57 and a half, but watching your premium front rower play 29 minutes is, yeah, it's devastating, and it's probably really, really frustrating. Luckily, quite a lot of teams own him, but also a lot of teams don't. And I think he has the buy this week, and he has the buy in like 25 or something. And it's pretty clear that Ricky is not going to, play him these big minutes. I think he's been playing like 40 to 45 minutes the last few weeks. Obviously, he's a bit banged up. He's got a broken finger and or whatever he did to his finger the other week, and then he had a pretty bad hip drop tackle in that game. So Tarpanay didn't need to play those big minutes. The Raiders are sitting pretty at the top of the ladder. It's pretty clear Ricky's going to rest him when he gets the chance to. So I'm on the board of selling Tarpanay. What about you, mate? Where do you sit on that one?
Mate, well, if we've seen my trade situation, there's the absolutely no chance that I'm trading out a non-injured player, especially one of Tarpany's quality. I think if you've got bulk trades, then I'm happy for you to trade out Tarpany. There are a lot of mids that we want to get in. Yo Haas and May are going to be the three that everyone's probably going to have in their mids eventually. Like those will be the guns. Plus you got Koloamatangi as that duel. So I think between those four, that covers you pretty well for mids. So you don't really need Tapane. People also have Aaron Clark that can move down there as well. So I understand trading out Tapane. I think personally, he's only had one buy so far, and he's just about to have a second buy, get his rest, and then hopefully the minutes will start to tick back up. Maybe they won't, and maybe we'll have to get rid of him, round 21 to paint Haas. Like that's another option is just holding him and trading him out in round 21 when Payne Haas has had his buy and just using that money to go up to Haas. That's probably what I'm looking at. If Tarpany, comes back from the buy and still gets lowish minutes, then I reckon I'll be flicking him up there.
Yeah, it's actually that one's on me. Actually, I shouldn't ask you if you're going to be trading or like what your plans are, because when you've got one trade and you are trading Jazz Tavanga, it kind of makes every question a little bit redundant. So maybe I'll try to reword it. So like oh, what do you think if this happens? But I guess the other option is obviously we're not selling Koloamatangi. You and Aitken, I don't own. I think you can do what you'd like with you and Aitken. I think that one's a little bit more team dependent. Being a
I think
pod.
you got to get rid of him, to be honest. Like
Yeah,
he's put in the centers again. Cody Walker isn't exactly known for his fitness. I don't know if he's gonna play many more games this year. Jack Whiten might just be the six, and Ewan Aitken might just be the center.
I feel like a lot of people who like when he got ruled out like would have traded him like
Well,
already.
I had a look, and it was only half. So
Mm.
I think 270 traded him out, but he was owned by like 55% or something of the top 1,000. So I think there'll still be like 20 to 25% that'll own Ewan Aitken.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy when you got Angus Crichton sitting there at 600K. Like I would do that trade. I think Angus Crichton's a massive target this week, and he's someone that I don't need an edge. And with this 13 players stuff, is someone that I don't really need this week. But to make other things work, at that price is something that I'm pretty heavily considering. Um, so that's you and Aiken. I probably would sell him, to be honest. I think you're right on that one, and that's why you're on the video. Obviously, we are not selling Koloamatangi, Hosking, Fogarty. Sorry, we'll go Fogarty. That's the easiest one. You're not selling Fogarty. Fogarty's your keeper half.
Yeah, he's
Hosking,
averaging
obviously,
55.
has had a couple of really banging scores and has definitely helped the people who have held him, especially coming in clutch in a major buy round. I'd lean to you also not selling him now that he's starting to make a lot of cash with good scores. I'm the only bloke in the world with DCE, and I'm not trading him. And the other probably interesting one is Ruben Garrick. Now I'm trading him. Is a bit risky, I feel, and well, there's a good chance that it does lead me down to three wing fullbacks as well. But again, we're not using the L word, we're not using the G word. But Ruben Garrick on the wing. Now, obviously, like I said in a few videos, I don't want to repeat myself too much. I don't check the scores during the game. And when I saw Ruben Garrick score two line break tries with a few tackle breaks, few goals, and I even seen him offload the ball when he doesn't offload the ball. I was expecting to see him score about 65. To be honest, I thought I would look at the app and he'd be about 65. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe I was a bit doing a little too much. And to see him score 55 down to a 54, I was like, oh, that's gross. They're not going to verse a rubbish Rabbitohs side. And then they've actually got a really tough draw as well after their bye. So they have the bye this week. Then they play Melbourne, into the Bulldogs, into the Raiders from memory. Once I had a look last night after I was keen to flick him. So I'm leaning on flicking him at that price. I actually started with him, so it's only costing me the one trade. And like I said a few times, I'm going to tease it. I've cooked up four trades, and I'm actually bringing in. There's a chance I'd bring in a wing fullback who would kind of serve the exact same purpose as Dylan Edwards. Oh, no, well, never mind. Okay, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag, and I'm keeping that in because I'll keep so as Ruben Garrick, and that's just Dylan Edwards. Obviously, I've cooked up a few trades. I need to get some big dogs in. I want to get Hasio and all that sort of stuff in. And there's a world where Ruben Garrick to Dylan Edwards lets me get some other big dogs in. So that's embarrassing. You can laugh at that in the comments that I've just spilt it out. But what are your thoughts on Ruben Garrick, mate?
I love how careful you are sometimes not to talk about your picks on the video, and then you just just tell them anyway. Um, yeah, Ruben Garrick, I'm holding, obviously, but I think going forward, I'll monitor him how he goes the next few weeks. He was on 38 at halftime, I think, and he was on like 40, like low 40s with like half an hour to go. And then South's just kind of got the bit of momentum for a period, and then they like it just wasn't needed to do anything. Um, but it was quite promising how Turbo was wrapping around to the left and just feeding Garrick tries. I think that's going to be a play going forward. They're going to go to that left side a lot more than they go to the right side. Like they'll go to the right side when they can get Turbo open in space, but is going to swing around to that left quite often when he to give the extra number. So I think they're going to target, especially teams that have soft defenses on their right edge. They'll do that a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if Garrick, because when Garrick did play on the wing, he used to score a lot of tries on that left wing, and he was in a lot of people's teams even before he moved to center, just because he was a winger that was kicking goals and he was getting that 45 average or so. And I think for me at this point, with my amount of trades, if he goes back to a 45 average, then that's fine. I'll just stick him at 18th man or loop him like in the 17th, 18th man kind of slot. Uh, but I understand people trading him out. He's 600k, like so you can move to some decent options there. Um, I mean, yeah, you could even straight swap him down to Turbo to bank some cash. That banks 150k. So there's a lot of options. Obviously, you wouldn't do that this week. If you're trading Garrick this week, who do you think you'd go to? Because obviously, well, you spoke about Dylan Edwards, but Latrell is a big name that I think a lot of people are looking at, but he will be on the buy. Um, so he'll have his rest after Origin. He'll have the buy. I think if you don't need a wing fullback, targeting him next week is a good idea. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Latrell's going to be probably the best wing fullback for the run home. Total points, it'd probably be Jaden Campbell, I think, just because he's got the bye this week and then he's got another bye in 26 or 25, sorry. So I think total points it'll be JC, but I think Latrell's going to not a must-have because that road gets thrown around too much, but he's going to be as close to a must-have in that position as you can be. I think if he wasn't on the buy this week, I would be buying him, but because he is, it makes things a little bit tricky in what I want to do this week. And I'm kind of obviously Origin. We got to get that out of the way first. Who backs up is a big thing. Um, I think a lot of the big dogs, your Penrith and the Broncos, they play on Sunday. Connor Watson obviously will play 20 minutes, so he'll back up. Angus Crichton, usually notorious for backing up. So it's going to come down to that. I think I actually will want to try to get a wing fullback or a half this week, just with JC moving up. Again, I bought Adam Dewey last week. They play the Warriors in New Zealand. He plays 5'8", then I would gladly play him. But if he's back in the centers, I don't think I'd want to play him. It sounds silly even though I just bought him. But and then I've got obviously Latu as well. So it could be pretty shambolic if I'm running around with Adam Dewey in the centers and Latu Fainu in my halves. Now, like I said, if Adam Dewey's starting 5'8", that's a different story. So I think Jacob Carraz is another option that a lot of teams already have from a few weeks ago. Obviously, they went sharp to Carraz. There's a world where I can also only make 3 trades and do Garrick to Nwangani Tawaze, which is something that is okay, but paying that much for him, I don't love. And it doesn't feel like chasing last week's points, but he's just so high up price wise. And another really interesting option to me is Zach Lomax. I would never ever tell the world or tell people to buy Zach Lomax, but it's a Mitch pick right there, and that's a gut feel pick that it would just be fun to own, I think. And I suppose fantasy is supposed to be fun. So Latrell's definitely the best, but you'd have to wait. And to counter that as well, I'm getting Isaiah Yo this week. Payne Haas is there. Obviously you're going to want Payne Haas in around 21. So how do we manage to get all of these guys, right? Like, if I used 4 trades or 3 or 4, go down to 1 or 0, we get 8 back next week. Like how do we get Haas at 900 or close to it? How do we get Latrell at 730? So it's very interesting. Obviously, you're in a pretty tricky spot being with 1 trade. Obviously, and if you're going to Connor Watson, that means you're kind of foregoing Payne Haas this week, Isaiah Yo, and obviously then you're going to want to get Latrell Mitchell in. Or do you have like a game plan, or do you have like what's your thoughts on getting some of these guys in the next few weeks? Because that's kind of why I'm looking at, well, if Haas plays this week, I know he has a bye next week, right? Like I know that and I'm understanding that. But it's more of the fact that I've got him, like I've locked in getting him, so I've done that bit, and then whatever comes up happens. If I don't get Haas this week and I go like Connor Watson, who I'm pretty keen on, Tino, I'm keen on, and I spend all my cash and I don't go Haas, I still want him, right? Like if he doesn't play this week, then fair enough. That's everything goes out the window and we change strategies. But I'm more talking about if he does play, like how do I get that 900K in a few weeks? Plus, I would have already used the trades on getting other guys this week because I still need 1 or 2 mids. Do I really want to play a Fiketti when I can play 2 of these Origin guys? So it's all food for thought. What are your thoughts and how do you plan on working around mainly Haas?
Yeah, the Haas question is quite a difficult one. I think for me personally, the Watson trade this week just makes a lot of sense. Jazz to Watson gives me a backup hooker. Watson's been good when he's come back on the last few weeks. He's averaging 55 or something over the last 3. Let me just check. Over the last 3, he's averaging 61. He's got a try in there, but
Oh,
52.6 over the
oh
last
my
5.
God. Sorry to interrupt, Matty Thompson. We were having a great yarn. We were having a great chat, and I've just seen someone stumble his way in. He's had a good week, so he's come to brag. Fantasy Jamie Brown. What's going on, mate? What are you doing here?
Matty, I'm sorry. I can't believe Mitch did that to you. Last time we waited patiently to hear the rest of his conversation. And I'm great, boys, but I want to hear what Matty was saying.
What was Matty saying? I think he was saying he can't get Payne Haas. I'm jealous that you want to get him this week. What were you saying, Matty?
I was just saying, hey boss, how you going? I'm
Very
just
well.
saying that Connor Watson it makes the most sense for me. Getting rid of Jazz and getting a backup hooker, Connor Watson should be a keeper. He's been averaging 61 the last 3. hooker position is a bit dire. So that what makes sense for me. And then I've got 120k left. And then it's just I think it's just going to come down to next week. Who's out? Do I have any injuries? And in terms of getting Payne Haas, I think that 120k will come in handy. Maybe it's a Tarpany to Payne Haas, and I can clear up a little bit more money next week, so that I can do that Tarpany to Payne Haas upgrade. So we'll see. I think when you've got low trades, you kind of just need to be trading out guys that are injured. So I kind of need to I can't just go and make luxury trades like getting rid of a Garrick, let's say, isn't really an option for me. And yeah, I think I just need to play a straight bat with my trades going forward to just make sure that I, don't run out going down the stretch.
So before I get into Fantasy Jamie, aka JBFA Jamie's team, I just wanted to touch on that comment there. So you said that you don't really want to, luxury trades. Is that because you think that's the right process, or you actually can't do luxury trades because you can't afford it because you only have one? Which way are we actually leaning on that one?
I mean, next week. After this week, obviously, I can't do luxury trades. But round 20, when we get at 8 trades, I still can't do luxury trades. I still can't trade out a likes of Garrick, I don't think. I think I just need to be looking at injuries and then getting rid of absolute potatoes, like potentially Burbo and potentially like King Tongia and these kind of guys, like changing King Tongia to the next cash cow that pops up. Like those are kind of the moves that I'll need to make. I don't think I can just trade out a like I guess you could say a Tarpany to a Haas is a luxury trade because Tarpany's, not injured, but I think that's a pretty substantial upgrade. Especially if Tarpany continues the low minutes. But besides that, I think yeah, I'll just be looking at injuries, and that's why I would maybe keep a trade in the bank or two if I was you, because you've got
No, no,
12
that's
or something without any trades, or you've got 13 maybe without any trades, and you got four trades. Like if you had 10, 11 trades going down the back end, you'd be a force. You can get Latrell in next week, etc.
yeah, I do agree, and I know we banned the L word launch. Jamie, stay tuned for that video, mate. But we haven't banned the L word luxury, and I actually don't think Tarpanita Haas is a luxury trade. Like I just don't think that. I think that's an upgrade. That's controversial or something, but I think with obviously you wouldn't do that this week. You'd do that after Payne Haas's bye, while Tarpany's playing. So Tarpany would only miss one game. The Broncos, does Payne Haas have an injury? He's got back spasms. He's got a back problem, but that hasn't really stopped him. We all watched him score 101 while not owning. We also did see him score 49, so I guess it does swing in roundabouts. But I would personally do that trade, and I'm looking to do that trade this week. JBFA Jamie, mate, how you going, mate? Obviously, I haven't watched your round results video. I'm sure you would be telling the whole world how happy you are that you scored 768. You've got Mark Nwangani Tawaze in there. I'm not too sure why he's in there, but I'm sure that worked out well for you.
Oh, he's averaging 78 for me, so can't complain there, mate.
Mate,
Hey, I should have listened to you with Dewey though. I would have been sitting about 800, 800th, I think, but I held off and kept my four trades. But mate, anyone is an upgrade if you go on a Payne Haas apart from Terrell, right? So
yeah.
there's that counter argument. And
Uh,
Matty, with your trade sitch, are you thinking 6 to 7 trades is for injuries and replacing a gun for a gun, that type of thing if something pops up, and that's where you're saying for Mitch, if he's got the extra trades to not go nuts and maybe he can have two or three of that luxury type of number to get down to 6 to 7 for just injury.
Yeah, I think with the other rounds, the other minor buy rounds, we've been having this conservative approach of not trading because if you've got 13 on the park, just run your 13 out there. And that's worked pretty well. Like I know Mitch has saved a lot of trades throughout those minor buy rounds. So I'm just kind of preaching a little bit of caution. Like you don't need to launch, or we'll ban the launch word, but you don't need to go nuts this week. Next week, you'll have more options. Everyone will have had a rest from Origin. There will be probably more fallout with injuries and suspensions and things like that. Um, you'll have, nearly every team to pick from. So if I was in his position, I would probably just bank a couple, use a
Mm.
couple if you want, make a couple of upgrades, get your 13 looking good. But spending 4, spending 3 when you've already got most of a full squad. Like, do you have a full squad, Mitch, already?
Yeah, I do. I do, but like that's boring. And I can get some absolute weapons in with using four trades. Like, I do have to trade a few weapons, but let's be honest, like Garrick's a dud, Tarpanay's a dud. That's Tavanga. His wings have been clipped, and there's someone else too, but I don't want to put it out there just because, I've got two absolute fantasy legends here with me and they're going to look at me funny even more than they already do. I never actually got a chance to touch on Jamie's lucky week. Oh, that's another
Oh,
L. There's another word that we haven't banned. He's got Nafahu White, who absolutely had a pain Haas game. He
that was
kept
so
what is it?
pretty.
He brought
Oh,
brought in Turbo, who actually remembered he could tackle break and scored 64, and then
what
he
about the
scored
tackles?
28 tackles is insane. I
So
can't
good.
lie. 28, and then Nwangani Tawaze, who bullied a poor reserve grader in Luke Lala'i, who's not even a center. So
You got 80
that's
last week, bro.
I rate it. So how many trades you got? Like I said, I haven't watched your video. I don't
I
even know
got
if I
four,
want to
but
watch it.
that's the thing with what Maddie's saying. Like, I don't love this week. Like, I have to bring in either a couple edges or one of each, mid and edge, with my situation. And like the guys I want are Origin players. And it's like, well, are they actually going to play this week? Are they going to actually score well? Like, that's all the worries. So I'm going to use two because I have to. Leaves me with two, which I think is a good situation after playing 12 last week. But yeah, it's more that question now for you, Mitchy, is like how many extra points am I going to get this week from those trades, or can and will it help me more next week with getting the trolls and these types of guys, or those types of questions? Yeah. Oh, we will give you crap too. You haven't set up very well, mate. You've got
Oh no, no,
KPP,
I actually
Toa,
no, no,
and
no.
Nikora.
I
What's going
took
on there?
this. Yeah, I
What's going on
actually
there?
had, like I said, I'd made four trades, and I actually do agree, but that's only with you saying like with that being Latrell Mitchell, right? Like that option is Latrell. But if I
Hmm.
can get if has let's say Origin has to happen first, like I said, I don't do the scheduling of when I do the videos. Unfortunately, I think the boss literally said you have to do Monday night. Doesn't matter what happens, you have to do Monday night. So
Mate, I can
Origin's got to
banish you to
play.
Thursday if you want and get
Uh,
no.
So, that works with Latrell, right? Like that, yes. But if I can get Yo, then I think I need a couple of mids, or I need something, I don't know. If I can get Haas, if I can get Yo and they play, and I'm still getting in guns while with those two guys maneuvering and kind of manipulating my team around, then yeah, I don't get Latrell, right? But I have Haas. Obviously, has a bye next week, right? Cop that, fair enough. And then I have Yo. I've locked those two guys in. So then you'd probably argue that the only one I'm missing is Latrell, right? Which again, like I can just fix that up later. So it's food for thought.
Yeah,
We've
that's
only
fine.
got we've only got 6 minutes left on the Zoom call because, like I said, I don't run this thing, so I'm not paying the unlimited Zoom call thing. I think you should do that and give us the accounts. So I think that's probably a good place to end it. We'll keep it nice and short and sweet. Obviously, very happy that you could join us, Fantasy Jamie, JBFA. Mate, maybe I'll watch a video, maybe I won't. I'm not too sure. See how much attitude you give me, I suppose. But
Well, I'll stop you watching now if you want. So I gave not you specifically a bit of crap, but there was some DCE chat, and I was like, wow, the bloke had to get 600 kick meters, a try assist just to get a 53. I don't know. Is he the right pick? Is he gonna come good? Is he gonna hit 70s and 80s? What's going on, Mitch?
I actually, to be honest, because I think last week he scored 52 with like three offloads or 53 with three offloads, and he had like 180 kick meters. And I was watching him like a hawk this week, and I think he
Like an
took the
eagle?
he took the first kick, and then Luke Brooks took the second kick, and then DC pretty much did all the kicking. He had a
Yeah, that's good.
try and he had a try assist, and I'm like, surely he's gone 60 plus. And I checked, and it was just the dreaded 53. But
Mm.
like I said, my team's full of battlers. My team's full of warriors. I've actually spoiled you'll have to watch the video because I actually mentioned someone who could be coming into my team. And yeah,
Mm.
it's definitely a saucy pick. And I bet you no one else is gonna buy him. But that's what I'm doing. And when I buy them, they're gonna score really, really well. It doesn't matter if Matty T had him or if you had him. When I have him, I'm gonna have a yarn to him. I'm gonna send him a DM on Instagram and I'm gonna say, look, the big dog's getting you in. I need you to pull your weight.
Big Mitchy. Matty, I reckon Mitchy's just a little bit sad. This is the first time in pretty much every year that Mitch has been playing this game that I'm been ahead of him. And I think it's just burning him a little bit inside.
What are you ranked? 1,000.
Even when I came 101st, he beat me. That's the sad thing.
1,000.
Look,
Yeah. I think I'm gonna. I might overtake you with the trades I'm getting. I just hope you don't get Haas. You probably won't get Haas, and I'll get Haas this week if he plays.
at
Yeah,
least Mitch
watch
has
him
still got a
rest.
shot to come past you, mate. I
We'll both buy him
I
in
don't see
21.
myself. What was that?
I'd say we'll both buy a house in 21 because he won't. He'll rest this week.
Mate, he'll come on and get half an hour and get like a 30, and then he'll have a huge break even, and Mitch will be like, and he'll be on a buy next week, and Mitch will be like, why did I buy him?
You
Potentially.
know what? I'm getting ganged up on here. This is where we're going to end the video. I'm doing the outro. I'm doing the outro while the guy who owns the YouTube channel is sitting in the call. I mean, hey, you can say what you want. That's got some aura about it. Let's see if I can do the intro while he's here. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate Jamie stopping by. This has been one of my more fun videos. I kind of wish it was just me and Matty T. That was a joke. That was a joke. That's where we'll end it, guys. Thanks to my two, the three musketeers. We're all bad at fantasy. Gone are the days where we were in the top 100. I don't think Matty's finished in the top 10K in the last 2 years. So
Oh,
don't take advice from us.
Big
We are
dagger.
rubbish. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Maybe I'll be by myself. Maybe I'll have three people. We never know these days with the scheduling. So thanks, guys.